We're live. Hello.
Oh,
Hey y'all. Happy Thursday. Thursday.
yes, happy
Welcome in,
Thursday.
welcome in.
Welcome, welcome.
Y'all see I'm here with Lakeisha, the High Priestess of the Story Temple, and it's Empress Theodora here. And today we are doing the full moon in Leo reading. And y'all know I usually do it by myself. And I do it for the paid subscribers now and then put it out to the free folks later. But it's funny. So I was at work today and I was like, oh, I think I'm going to do the full moon reading. Ooh, okay. That's something. All right. Sorry, y'all. This little piece flew off at me. Be careful. So I was at work today, finished something today, and I was sitting here thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna do the full moon reading today. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Lakeisha would want to do it with me because usually, like at nighttime, not every night, but like a lot of times we'll talk at night and we'll take off our makeup, we'll kind of end the day and stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe no, maybe not this time, maybe like another time when I could give her more of a heads up. And then we were sitting there FaceTiming, talking, eating dinner, and she started shuffling her cards. And I was like, it's so funny because I was gonna ask you to do the full moon reading with me, but I was like, I might be putting you on the spot. And she was shuffling her cards, and I was like, okay, I think we might want to do the reading tonight then, because yeah, I was thinking it, and then she's over here shuffling her cards. So you don't really shuffle your cards when we be on the phone like that. I
Hmm.
tend to more often, but yeah, you don't. So I was like, okay, let's do this.
When you
Um,
stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
this is true. So y'all gonna have to like vibe with us because like I said, I usually do this by myself. And it's not like we haven't done readings together before. Like just but like we're gonna try to make it to where it all comes together message wise, but it might not because again, like I said, we all get different things when we're doing these. So I don't know what it's gonna turn into. So just be open. um but I will tell you this. This is what I can tell you. So I feel like I've been channeling the energy of this full moon for a minute now, but especially today. And I felt like we needed to use the African Gods Oracle. I'm gonna show y'all the picture of the front cover because this oracle always spits the truth. And it doesn't really sugarcoat it like some of the other decks, like where you gotta dip past the flowery language. This one's real direct. And I feel like that's part of the energy of this full moon because it's Leo full moon, and Leo is its planet is the sun, right? And its card in the tarot is the strength card, right? And so I feel like when you have the planet of the sun is calling you out and calling you like front and center. So and specifically when it comes to Leo, it's calling you front and center on being seen without shrinking, right? Which is a big part of our energy here. And so I felt like that was part of the energy for me, but also there's a lot of stuff going on online that I just don't like without calling folks out. That's just cruel. Y'all saw my note today about how I don't like a fucking bully. And there's some bully ass activities, bully ass behaviors going on online. And I just felt like I wanted to use the African Gods Oracle deck because it's very direct. It don't sugarcoat nothing. So I feel like that's why we also need that too today. So, Geisha, what you gotta say? Cause that's my beginning right now.
So I actually chose Tarot of Dreams, this deck right here. Because Neptune is now in Aries. And I feel like part of the delulu that's going on is a result of where Neptune is right now. So it's adding fuel
Yes.
to the fire. We all know Aries is a child of the zodiac. And I'm a Capricorn, so my planetary ruler is Big Daddy Saturn. So the father figure. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'll use that as the tarot. And then I'm also going to use the realist oracle. For some reason my eye just went to it, so I'm not really sure what spirit wants to come out of that, but definitely wanted to use tarot of the dreams with this Neptune and Aries energy going on, and like she said, all this bully energy that's happening online. So Yeah, we're gonna see what the tarot, what oracle, what spirit overall has to say about it,
Yes, we are.
and get some
Um,
guidance to help us move forward.
yes, absolutely. Also, I like that you said that because we talked about this before about Neptune, right? About being about dreams, but when it's not benevolent, it can be about illusions. It could be about deception, right? And again, in relationship with Leo, about being seen, about being who you are at your core, right? Start to think about as we talk through this, like what illusions you have around who you really are. Um, we talked about triggers last night with Margaret on a live. We talked about being self aware, right? We talked about all those types of things. So that is also a part of losing some of that delulu, right?
Mhm.
Um, okay, so sun, who you are at your core, right? And then the fact that this is a full moon, how you emotionally experience being witnessed, right? So we're gonna talk through a lot of layers of that probably tonight too. There's a lot of stuff in my notes today, but I think we're gonna just start with the read, and then we can reference some of the notes as it relates, and we'll tie in Lakeisha's the high priestesses. I have to remember to do that. The high priestesses insights as well with her cards. So yeah, hang with us because we're experimenting tonight. So I don't know where this is gonna take us. And I told Lakeisha earlier tonight, I was like, uh I feel like I'm channeling the energy of the full moon and like the people around me, but I'm also like I was like, I might be a little too hyphy for this read. So, just hang, okay? Because I don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth today. I also have I don't know if y'all can't see it, but I got my oh god, my root chakra sound bowl sitting here, so we're gonna play a little bit of that at the end to ground us all back. Cause like I said, I don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth today.
Mm.
I don't know what's gonna be said. I don't know what's gonna come out the cards. So just I mean I never know, but I really never know. I really don't know tonight. So y'all just hang with us.
Mhm. No, they fly my dragon. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's crazy. I can literally feel like literal like heat around my face, around my my upper back. So like heart chakra, third eye, crown are activated.
Mm.
Like lots of heat right in this general vicinity right now. Mm. Okay, let's see what they got for us. Okay. Hmm. Good still okay.
Hey, the whole deck wants to fly out. All right.
uh,
Mm. Okay.
I know we'll be laughing over here. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, spirit. And it's funny because Rumors is playing with Cardi B and Lizzo in the background. So it just came on.
Mm.
Oh.
I don't think I'm gonna pull from my deck because I don't think the literary ancestors have anything to say. They sit back and they watching. So, but they're here though.
Yeah, and if we need to take a moment later to like do something for writing, like we can, like
Yeah.
specific to that,
Uh,
some writing advice. Damn. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read these to y'all because wow, I told y'all these ones they're aggressive. Okay, they're direct. Um, so strategy is the path to success. Now, mind you, though, this card has swords on it, and this particular card is like a warrior card, right? And it's a sword on the front, a sword on the back. Okay, I'm gonna reserve judgment for right now. And then the next one, this one, it says, when you all, this is why I was like, oh shit. When you always say yes to others, you say no to yourself. I was like, damn, okay. And then stubbornness only brings unnecessary wars. Bully ass activities. Okay. 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 To be honest, sometimes when I pull those cards, I feel like that's enough. That's plenty. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna use my deck.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm. uh Oh, look, who else came out? That's us. Okay, Big Daddy Saturn is in the house. The Capricorns are here.
Capricorn energy.
Yeah, the devil, y'all, is Capricorn's major arcana card, right? Interesting. So that's our card. We're both Capricorn suns. Damn. Okay. So strategy is the path to. I'm gonna have to turn Usher off for a second because this is. Thank you, Usher. I'm gonna need you to be quiet for a second. Okay. So strategy is the path to success. We have here as a warrior, right? But what's interesting is right underneath strategy is the path to success. We have the Page of Cups, right? And I always laugh when I see this card because y'all see how there's this fish kind of poking out of the Page of Cups. And I don't know why, but like what always pops into my mind when I see this card, I'm like, all I got is this fish for you. I ain't really got much else. I ain't got a strategy. I ain't got a plan, but I got this fish. Like it's in this cup. So it's idealism, it's freshness. I mean, it's possibilities too, but I think when combined with this strategy is the path to success, there's a lack of strategy here. There's a lack of foresight. And I would say that with this bullying energy and this like overactive energy, I think there's a lack of foresight when it comes to how you treat people, how people are being treated at this time, you know? Um, because we forget, like, people need people, and some of us are so big for our britches that we think we don't need people or that we could just manipulate the situation, right? So, like I said, Leo in its benevolence shines a light onto other people, right? Brings people out for their gifts, for their skills. But Leo, when it's not benevolent, right, can have a different type of energy entirely, right? Some people are like, oh, I don't like this sign or I don't like that sign. I'm like, you probably maybe encounter somebody that is not operating in an elevated version of that sign's energy, right? Because we all have all 12 in different spots, right, within our charts. And just some of us have them in more dominant positions than others. That's why I do the love letters of the signs, because I kind of want to bust through the preconceived energy, right, of those signs. Okay. And then I have here, when you always say yes to others, you say no to yourself. And again, that's coupled kind of underneath it is the Empress and the Devil, and the Devil's in reverse here. Um, so the Empress wants to like bring things to fruition, right? Wants to like birth things, right? Um, she wants to nurture things. She wants to bring things to the surface. The Empress is all about sacral energy, right? It's Venus. It's energy of yes, of openness, and self love, right? The Empress's tagline here is, "My love will dissolve all anxiety and fear," right? So it's about nurturing the true parts of you, right? Because we talked about Leo being the core. I feel like what they're asking is for us to nurture the true parts of us. And it's so interesting because we talked about addiction last night a little bit. We talked about, some of the things that cloud our intuitive signals, right? And with the devil being reversed like this, it can indicate overcoming addictions. It can indicate emancipation, getting back control. It can be about release, about freedom, about detachment, right? And it's so interesting, detachment in Aquarius season. Aquarius is the master in a lot of ways of detachment from the outcome. So there is this ask for us to say yes to ourselves. Um, so that way we can come through these things. Like they want us to be the Empress. They want us to be able to birth things and to love ourselves and to move out of fearful states, right? And I feel like the bullying, antagonistic type of energy or the like low key hating on folks, that kind of energy comes out when you don't love yourself or when you're trying to overcome things. I remember when I was going through my own stuff, I would, I had moments where I would lash out because I'm trying to fight my own demons, And so if you are trying to fight your own demons right now, you got your own stuff going on right now, it's best that you keep your eyes on your own paper, right? And that's what they're calling us into. The Empress is about self love. It's about healing those things. And the devil in reverse, so the devil card has the root chakra on it, which is interesting because we have the root chakra, sound bowl right here. So it's about your foundation. I am is the root chakra's mantra, right? So it's getting grounded in who you are. And these are both Empress's major arcana for Taurus, right? And the devil is major arcana for Capricorn. So those are both earth signs. So there's some major grounding in self. So that's why, again, the African gods says, when you always say yes to others, you say no to yourself, right? So your strategy that the warrior and the page of cups is wanting you to get is it's good to be excited, have fresh ideas, to be idealistic, but what they're asking you to do is ground it in practical strategy, and that practical strategy is caring for self, right? Taking care of those things that you've been hiding from, that you've been avoiding, right? Because what they're gonna do is they're only gonna catch up to you, know from experience, right? And then finally, stubbornness only brings unnecessary wars. And right here, it's coupled with Ace of Wands in reverse. And Ace of Wands, when it's in reverse, it's about a lack of direction, lack of passion, right? Wasted opportunities, postponement, distraction, creative blocks. And again, I told y'all the Empress is the sacral, right? And the sacral is connected to creativity, is connected to pleasure. So again, when you're not saying yes to yourself, when you're not overcoming the things that you need to overcome, that sacral energy can be blocked, right? That root chakra energy can be blocked. And it's very clear that it is with the Ace of Wands coming out here in reverse like that. And stubbornness only brings unnecessary worries. Like, I don't know. I just feel like over and over again, I've said this a lot over the last few months in different reads and different forums, but if you don't have someone that you check in with spiritually or you struggling with stuff like that's heavy, like what I just talked about in this read, you need to get somebody, therapists, counselors, spiritual guide, something. You need something, right? Can't just thrive on, you know, passion and no direction and no plan, right? That's what they're asking you to do here. Some of us be trying to tackle these big challenges alone, and they're asking you in order to get back to the core essence of who you are, which I know is that love and light person, not the person that lashes out. um they want you to go inward, which is why it's a Leo full moon, right? So to be this bold version of yourself, they want you to go inward with this moon energy, right? It's a full moon. Full moon is about looking inside and pulling up the roots, what's at the deeper layers, not just what's at the surface, right? So that's what's starting to come out. Lakeisha, you can, you know, if you want to chime in on that, or if you want to just go right into your cards, whatever you want, sis.
I think some of my cards are in alignment with yours. It always works out that way. I'm not really sure how that works, but from the tarot, this Tarot of Dreams deck is a little different because it has some extra cards in it.
Oh, nice.
This is one of those extra cards. This is called the Palace of Wands. So this is
Oh,
basically where the page, the knight, the king, and the queen, this is where they live. And I find it really interesting that this card came out because I said I specifically chose this deck since Neptune is in Aries. And so
yes.
obviously this is a beautiful place to live. I mean,
Mhm.
look at it. It's like gold and stuff everywhere. But I feel like, because there's all of this bullying energy and there's all of this delusion that actually thinks that's making people think that, oh, this is fun and games, or I'm just making an observation, or this, that, and the other. That's not really what it is. Because the oracle card that I pulled underneath of it is called Ascension Tension. So this is basically tension as you can look at her face. This is basically tension as you ascend. So, when you're on your healing journey, and I'm pretty sure we all are, I've been on mine for a minute, when you're ascending, it can get kind of lonely at the top, and it's easy to look back, where you came from and be like, there's all those people down there, and they're doing the stuff that I used to do. It used to be fun, and I'm up here all by myself. I kind of feel that tension in me. So let me go back down there and do what they doing. Let me see what they got going on, and then that's where that delusion and stuff, go comes from and all that. And so I've just found that really interesting that came out underneath of it. But then the next tarot I pulled is the Five of Coins. And so the planet for that one is also Taurus. So we have some more Earth
Oh,
energy coming out.
okay.
I mean, not the planet. The zodiac sign is Taurus, but the planet is actually Mercury. Um,
Oh, okay.
so I also think this bullying stuff, and I don't know. I mean, it's bullying energy and just not a lot of self-love and all of that is going on. People feel like they are left out in the cold. And I mean, you could say that literally because we just had this snowstorm, but I think people really feel like
Yeah.
that inside. Like you said, we need community. A lot of these community spaces that I'm seeing, and I'm saying this from a professional standpoint. I work with writers, so I like to gather writers together and do things like that. But from just my view and looking around and stuff, people really feel left out in the cold, like they're not welcome in certain spaces unless they be a certain way. And then the card that came out underneath that is deep knowing. So this is about knowing yourself. And that is what a Leo full moon wants you to know and understand. Know and understand yourself, that deep knowing, the one that's within. Because at the end of the day, you can perform, you can conform, but you still have to sit with yourself.
You could perform, you could conform. Come on,
You could
Lakeisha.
you still gonna have to sit with yourself. And the deep knowing is water. So I have all four elements. If you know my Substack, it's the Story Temple. I work with the elements as well. I also do shadow work for writers. So I have all four elements on the table here. The ascension tension is air. So that's all up in your head because you're thinking that what you left down below is more fun, it's more enticing than what you got going on up above where you want to be at the Palace of Wands. So there's that going on there too. And then the third tarot card that I pulled out is the Two of Swords. That's Libra energy, and that's
Mm.
also the moon. So, I'll show you this one. The only thing I don't like about this deck is that the people don't look like us, but I like the artistry and
Well, but look, It there's two
Yeah.
swords on the yep, okay. So
So,
yeah.
so now you got this decision to make now, you
Mhm.
know? And with this blindfold and the luminary being the moon, because I don't think the sun and moon are planets. I know some astrologers like, you call them planets. I don't have time for all that. But the luminary is the moon and this, that, and the other. So, that's going back to deep knowing. You have to make a decision about yourself. What do
Yep.
you know within inside? What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to, where is it that you want to go? I was about to cuss, but what do
You
you
can
stand
cuss, this
what do
is
you
my line.
fucking
Go ahead.
stand for? Like what
Yeah.
is all that? Because underneath that, here comes some more fire,
Yeah.
inner strength. But this particular card, it's not
Mhm.
talking about inner strength like the strength card in tarot. This is talking about that tension within you,
Yep.
that's tension that you're fighting. You want to do something and you're second guessing yourself, or you actually do something and then you thought it was cool at the moment that you did it, and then you get a little bit of feedback or somebody says something, and now you got that push and pull and you're fighting on inside yourself. So this is more fire. So I just think it's real interesting how these cards came out and they almost mirroring yours, or they're you kind of like,
They are.
complimenting yours because you have the devil in reverse and, all of that toxicity, that inner conflict is part of that toxicity, that ascension tension is part of that because, you really want to do one thing, but you actually know that it's really not the right thing,
Yep.
but you want
Well,
to
and
do
what's
it
the step
anyway.
right here too is what? When you always say yes to others, you say no to yourself. That's what you're talking
Yeah,
about, that conflict.
exactly. So, this goes back to the you can perform or you can conform. That's that two of swords. You got to choose. Like, what you gonna do?
Ooh. Mm.
That's what I got from what I pulled. That came out, which I thought was real interesting. I'm glad I kept my finger back.
You did pretty good. Your face did pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad I kept my finger back.
Mine on the other hand could use some work. Um, that's so interesting. It's funny too. On the bottom of my deck right now is the devil too. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay, interesting.
Yeah, let me see what's at the bottom. At the bottom of my tarot is the Queen of Wands, and I feel like the energy that's in the air right now is the distorted version of the Queen of Wands. Like people,
Yeah,
they think they're standing in their power, but they're really not. That's that Neptune and Aries again, that delusion. Can you tell him to because I'm on a live call. Thanks. Sorry, my son is on the game, and if y'all have sons, teenagers or whatever, and they be on the game, it's a whole thing. But yeah, it kind of feels like the distorted version of the Queen of Wands energy because it's not contained. It's all over the place. Like,
well, and it's like self-inflated too. It's like
yeah,
we talked about last night, edging God out, the ego,
yeah,
right?
the ego.
Mm-hmm. So the ego's really at play here with this Queen of Wands
Huh?
energy.
Oh, yeah, that should be fine. Real life, y'all. I have children. And they smell food. They've come out. But yeah,
You
that's
tell
what
them
I
what
got.
you cooked today.
Hmm?
You tell them what you cooked today.
Oh,
It
I
sounded
just
good.
put some boneless chicken thighs in the oven because I was gonna do curry chicken, but I
Mhm.
didn't have the energy for all that, so I put that in the oven and made like a honey garlic sauce, got some corn on the cob and some rice, and that's a meal because it's cold outside. I ain't got time.
Mhm.
I ain't got time. And then look who's at the bottom to go with your empress.
Oh, hey, girl. Hmm. I love how that always just happens. It's so interesting.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's
So
so funny. I was like, I wonder if you want to do the reading with me today, but I didn't say anything, and then you were over here shuffling your cards. It all comes together.
it does. It's a lot of fire in the collective. It's a lot of air too because
Yeah,
people going off at the mouth. But what you like you said, there needs to be some grounding. So I don't have much grounding other than the Five of Pentacles because that's Taurus in terms of the zodiac. But
yeah.
grounding is definitely needed.
Yeah.
which is why I have, garnet on.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I definitely needed it. It's probably why I needed you here today because I'll be honest, y'all. I was like, I was feeling real hyphy, like this this morning all the way until like maybe about an hour ago. You know.
I still
So
have
the
I still have my light seer stacked in front of me. I swear I took it in the bedroom, but apparently I didn't. But if we're gonna do advice, I'm gonna use this one.
oh yeah, we could do advice, huh? What deck should I use for that too? Maybe I'll use my deck for it. Hmm. Go ahead, you go first.
'Cause, I be thinking I do stuff and then I don't actually do it. And then I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, I actually didn't do that. I didn't take the deck away. So you know what I was doing. But yeah, let's see. Let's get some advice on like what to do, how to navigate this energies.
Cause
More so
yeah,
how to navigate as opposed to what to do because, you're all autonomous beings. You're gonna do what it is. But how do we navigate the energy that's in the air that's around.
yeah.
So let me see. I'm going to breathe. So I don't know about that for advice, but we'll go
Mm,
with it. We'll go with it. We got more Capricorn energy on the board. The devil.
damn.
Um,
Well, so wait, and so we pulled 4 devils because remember my other one came out, so we have 4 devils today.
so we have four devils. So there's a lot of Capricorn energy, but one is distorted. I think mine is
Yeah,
distorted actually. Um,
yeah.
okay. So advice, because I just pulled the devil too. Um, mm, You kinda have this goes back to that Two of Swords. You have to and kinda like what you were talking about last night with Miss Margaret, you have to know what your triggers are,
Yes.
because that's what the devil is all about. It's about triggers, it's about boundaries, it's about limitations and giving into that, but you're not really bound, you're not really limited in that way. It's all in the mind. So you have
Mhm.
to know what your triggers are and
Yep.
know how to soothe your nervous system when those triggers come.
Yep.
Shadow work is a good way to do that. If you're a writer, and shameless self plug, I have this course called Writing from the Wound. It's a 7-day email course for excavating wounds around writing and the white gaze and all that. We can give links and stuff later on, but whenever I see the devil come up, and also whenever I see the moon come up, I always think about, shadow work. If you haven't really looked at your shadows and looked at your triggers and what's triggering you right now, especially with everything that's happening in the country, it might be a good time to do that. And the Leo full moon is actually going to directly on it. And then the next set of advice kind of goes back to the deep knowing because the Queen of Cups has come out. So this is really getting into the feeling in tune with your thoughts. People don't like to sit with their thoughts, but you gotta sit with them. They're yours. You gotta sit with them. They're yours. So yeah, the Queen of Cups is very intuitive. She's very in touch with emotions, even if they're not always the best emotions, because it's not a bad thing to feel sad. It's not it feels that's part of the human experience, and we can't just push all that away and instead fly off at the mouth at people, cut people off, do this and that because you don't want to deal with those emotions. The Queen of Cups, she has a lot of emotional intelligence, and
Yes.
even when emotions are high and feelings are not so great, she still knows how to use those emotions, transmute those emotions into some other type of energy.
Mm.
I'm very skilled at transmuting energy.
Yeah.
Because and when you do that, you'll get into the Nine of Pentacles, meaning you're self sufficient. In this
Yeah.
particular case, everybody gets excited about the Nine of Pentacles because it's about money, and it is. But in this particular case, I'm thinking about self sufficiency in terms of self,
Yes.
because that's also a form of currency. So yeah, you have to know your triggers with the devil because he will play in your face all day. Use your emotional intelligence with the Queen of Cups. If something is triggering you, take a minute. You don't have to everything. This does not require an immediate response at all. Like you don't have to respond right away, and don't allow people to make you feel like you need to, because you don't. It ain't nothing that important. And that actually moves you into the Nine of Pentacles energy, because now I have some more Earth energy on the board. That's
It's
why
interesting too because you said Queen of Cups, and earlier you had said something about, as you ascend, and the Queen of Cups also, because of that level of emotional intelligence, can often start to feel isolated
Mhm.
as she keeps growing in her ascend. So try to find some like-minded folks while you're doing that, or find people to ground you. Like we talked about therapy, we talked about counselors, we talked about, so have your ways.
Get you a friend like, myself and Empress Theodora, somebody you can call after work and that's the stuff all together. Like we do this all the time. One time went live and we sit up there taking our makeup off and stuff. So, have somebody like that that you can do that with. You obviously you don't have to go live. Like we ain't saying do all that. But
It's just
that's
what we
some
did. That's all.
yeah, that's just what we did. But, yeah, have somebody that you can do that with, because again, we're so isolated already. The world is practically online now as a result of COVID. People don't gather anymore, and
Mm-mm.
I'm waiting for that to start happening again. Not today because it's like 13 degrees outside for me. I ain't going out there. But people need community. And they need real community, not this performance stuff that I'm seeing online. It's like what I'm seeing
Yes.
online is a whole bunch of people gathering and they're, just being toxic together. And that's not
Yeah.
community.
And
There's
you
no care.
and you gotta be toxic to participate. And if you have to be
Right.
toxic to participate, it's not
Right.
it.
That's that Two of Swords. You got to think like, okay, is this the right one for me? Like, can I be myself and participate, or do I have to be toxic and participate? Because if I'm not toxic, then I'm going to get canceled or I'm going to get kicked out and be left out in the
Yes.
cold with the five of coins.
And I would say one of the biggest downfalls of our community, and some of the like people that get really big in our community that don't ever work on themselves, is that we can tend to uplift foolishness and uplift bullshit. And then the person has grown to this magnitude or this level, and they've never been able to be held accountable in their life. And then getting to that level, it's even harder to be held accountable?
Hmm.
So we do got to be in real community with each other. Doesn't mean just the light and progress. Well, actually, it means the light and the progress. Excuse me, what I'm trying to say. They both go together. So that was beautiful, Lakeisha. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be advice or if it's just gonna be songs that I'm gonna tell y'all to go listen to from from my tech, and we'll see how it plays out when we pull them. Oh gosh, I love this oracle so much. Um, it was fun to make. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Yeah, I have mine here. It was really fun to make this oracle as well.
Yeah.
He made hers first, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to do it," and so I ended up making one for writers, and here we are.
Oh,
I
more
so
questions.
apologize for my son, y'all. I swear.
Oh, I'm
I don't
sorry.
think we're getting advice based on her face, y'all. It's about the
It's
it's
a mixture. It's a mixture.
it's the big.
So it's funny because we keep getting swords first when we pull, like from our, like when I pulled on the first round, I got swords. You pulled, you got swords. Like that energy comes through first. So page of swords here, another
Mm,
page.
mm.
Um, so the song here, I'm trying to remember where the song is from because when you read them versus when you sing them, and I'm like, which song is this? So many. Oh, it's Rihanna. Okay.
Mm.
So many things. Okay. I'm not going to sing it. I was about to, but I'm not going to. I got shy all of a sudden. Okay. So many things I want to know the answers to. Wish I could press rewind and rewrite every line to the story of me and you. So the advice though, pay attention, ask questions before giving access. Root chakra is here. I am. And I
Mm.
think that goes back to what you were saying about discernment, about where you're at, what spaces you're a part of, where you grant access to people to, and where you yourself go. So I don't think it's just about granting access. I think it's about what you participate in, just
Mhm.
based on the overall energy today. And then we got another queen here, Queen of Pentacles. I'm doing rich shit, rich activities. So luxury focus. So It says Queen of Pentacles, but it's also Empress energy. So I just think it's a play, a build upon what I was talking about earlier about Queen of Pentacles, right? I mean Queen of Pentacles, about the Empress, which is again that divine femininity, that self-love, that like my love will conquer all fear and anxiety. That is the hashtag or the tagline, if you will, of the Empress. So it's about, elevated lifestyle. It's about luxury embodied, right? It's not just performed, but it's embodied. That word is on here, right? Um, and then this is why I was laughing. Y'all remember Mariah Lynn from I don't know if it was Love and Hip Hop or I don't know what love reality TV show, but she had a song and it's the Fool here, right? And it's I was a hoe and I'm admitting it. I won't take it back because I did the shit. I was a hoe. Anyway, so it's about radical honesty without shame. And I feel like from everything that we've talked about, when you get into those private moments with yourself and you think about where you've been trying to like compromise, to be involved, where you've been perpetuating bad behavior, right? To be validated, not because that's who you really are. The Fool in this particular deck is wanting you to get radically honest with yourself. And I will share this with people because we're all on Substack. We're all working through stuff. I'm gonna give you permission because you heard it here first. That your writing coach might tell you this. Your social media guru might tell you this, but you don't need to share everything as it comes to you. Sometimes you can sit with something genuinely. You could even write it up, but not share it right away. Sometimes we need to go deep within and metabolize the stuff that we're learning and we're getting hits on and we're processing before we put it out there. When I was going through my separation and then my divorce so many years ago, the advice my grandmother gave me was paramount. She's like, you're going to be, because we were all physically still in offices at the time. And my grandma was like, Thea, you're gonna want to tell everybody how you're feeling. You're gonna be brimming with emotions because it's a vulnerable time and things just come up. So be really aware of who you're sharing things with, because you might get through this moment and look back and realize, oh, I granted intimacy or I granted access. Ooh, back to access. Okay. Granted access. I wasn't ready for that. Granted access to places that really you hadn't metabolized yet, you hadn't really processed yet. Do you know what I'm saying? So as you're online, you're in these spaces and you're creating, it's not inauthentic to keep some shit to yourself until you figure it out, because it's your story, right? And oh, okay, I'm about to start preaching for a second. So sometimes when we are going through something, we can make ourselves out to be the victim on a level like 30, right? Where, yes, there is probably some stuff we went through and it was maybe a level 10, right? But we make it out to be this level 30 thing, right? And then we come through this thing, we get more maturity, we get more tools, we get more capacity to deal with stuff. And we look back and be like, oh, goddamn, why did I deal with it like that? Why did I make myself out to be the victim? This is my genuine part in it. This was their genuine part in it. Okay, we didn't have the tools. They're not this big bad wolf. I'm not this little sheep, I'm not little Red Riding Hood who got lured into grandma's house. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some mutual responsibility. And so I guess I'm just sharing this because of experience of like not having processed things, not having metabolized things, and then creating this whole narrative that was not necessarily entirely accurate. It was like rewriting of history. You know what I'm saying? So I give you permission to take time to process before you put something out. When you're about to hit publish, ask yourself why. When you're about to send a text message divulging all your feelings to somebody who don't even really give a damn about you and you keep trying to get them to stay, ask yourself why. Like just question some of those things before you hit publish, before you hit send, before you call and go off and leave a voice message. You can always hit the star button and re-record the message. And you don't have to leave all that shit on somebody's voicemail. I don't know why that's what's coming through, but all I'm gonna say is just process before you publish, okay?
Mm,
And then
that's
8,
interesting. What flew out of my deck as you were saying that I was
what
shuffling,
was it?
and three cards have flown out. But go ahead. I'll.
Oh, okay. I'm go ahead because this last one is the calm, but like
Mm.
the calm. So go ahead.
So you were talking about before you hit publish, take a minute. And I agree with that. Like some things need to marinate.
Mhm.
Um, you don't need to hit publish right away. So the first card when you started talking, I intentionally pulled out my card that says honor the silence. It's talking about you're over explaining. Mind you, this deck is for writers, by the way. So this isn't like just a regular oracle deck. I made it for writers, but I say honor the silence. You're over explaining, making everything explicit. Trust what's left to do the work. Trust what's left unsaid to do the work too. Opacity is power. Now, I wrote this in terms of, Black writers having opacity from, white publishing, but we also need to have opacity with other Black writers and readers as well. You don't have to share everything in the moment, and you also don't have to share everything, period, because on the back of this card, I have the throat chakra and the third eye. So you're going to make a conscious choice about what to vocalize and what you're not going to vocalize. You're going to use strategic silence. It requires, seeing what readers, like on the card, I have white readers because that's what the deck is designed for, but we can just put readers in general since we're talking about Substack, readers in general, strategic silence about what they expect and refusing to give it. So, with all of this bullying energy and all of this other stuff that's going on, people are actually, they get excited when they kind of see like a juicy post that's going to like cuss somebody out or something like that. Or they get excited when they see a post where you're talking about your pain, you're talking about your grief, you're talking about your wounds. There are people who feed off of that. I mean, some people don't, but there are many people who do. And then the next now I pulled this out specifically, so I went and grabbed it. But what came out afterward is ground and specificity. So here I'm saying you're being too general, trying to be relatable. Because again, you're conforming and you're performing in this energy. So you're not grounded in specificity. Being generic doesn't really connect to anyone. So you try to perform and conform because you want to connect. Now I'm taking this card that does not really mean that, but I'm applying it to like what we're talking about because the literary ancestors, apparently they had something to say. Now, mind you, these are practice cards that come out. The ancestors have not. I did see more practice cards have come out. The literary ancestors were like, nah, just give them the practice card. Like, you don't need to say it was from us. But this also has the root chakra on it, and it also has the sacral chakra on it. So I am and I feel. Specificity roots you in your actual lived experience. So a lot of what I'm seeing online is everybody, again, they want to be involved. They want to be part of community. And they feel like in order to be part of the community, they have to have things in common. They have to do the same things. So you have to be specific. You have to talk about, oh, I experienced this too. And, I did this and I did that. And so that is the so called welcome, quote unquote, into the community.
Trauma dumping on the
Yeah,
community.
trauma dumping and trauma bombing, like that's how people are doing it, and it's like, I don't know, I don't know how that is. And then the last card that flew out in my lap was read the lineage. So you need to remember that you're not alone. The lineage told you, and in this particular context, if you've written something, going back to writers and stuff like that, and then you sit on it for a minute, you let it marinate, and you're still not sure if you're supposed to share it. This is where the ancestors come in. All you gotta do is ask.
Mhm.
They walked this path before you. So, that's the crown chakra. That's that God intelligence that Empress
Yep.
Theodore is always talking about. And it's also the third eye. So you're connecting with ancestral wisdom and you're learning to see, like on here, I say learning to see craft. But for this context, I'll just say learning to see bullshit for what it is and learning to see it through your eyes, having discernment and moving accordingly.
Mhm.
So those are the cards that came out of my deck when you started talking. I pulled
Mhm.
one specifically, and then the other two flew out behind it. So yeah,
Mhm.
but I don't have no ancestors for you. But they in the deck though.
Mhm.
They in here though.
Hmm.
That's what I got.
Well. I see why they want me to do this today, child. Why they like, call High Priestess Lakeisha. We gonna do this today.
Yeah, that's what I got for y'all.
I love how we ended up bringing out the literary deck anyway. You were like, I don't know if I'm gonna bring it out. And
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. But I really feel like this is a good full moon to do some shadow work.
yes,
Shadow work does not have to be all encompassing and, difficult and whatever, like they make it out online and, in some of these spaces they make
yeah,
it seem like it's a whole thing. But it can be that if that's how deep you want to go, but it can just be really simple with just, you can just sit in meditation and sit with your thoughts. Like if you've never done shadow work before, start there. Doing some journaling,
yep,
get some words down on paper, not for Substack, not for Instagram, not for Facebook, not for somebody to read, but for yourself.
yep.
Like, do some automatic writing, set a timer, just let whatever come out, come out. And then, walk away from it from a little bit and then go back and look at it because you'll be surprised at what actually comes out of you, like what your actual thoughts are when you allow yourself to see them. You would be surprised.
It's the truth. It's so true. Actually, there's this book called The Artist's Way, and that is one of the activities in there where it's like write 3 pages a day, but don't like judge it. And you do it first thing in the morning. And you just kind of let everything flow
Mhm.
out of you and let everything just come out without judging it. You know.
Yeah. If you're into divination, if you have tarot and oracle decks, you can use those to help you. Pull a card and just journal on how it makes you feel.
Yep.
You would be surprised at what comes out of that.
So surprised because I
Because
do
a
that
good
every morning.
example would be one of my course participants. I'll kind of give you the abridged version of what happened with her. So she sent me an email the other day and she said a particular tarot card came out for her 3 times on 3 different days. And she originally had an incident with this particular card. She was in a tarot group and the deck that she was using did not have people on them. It didn't have animals on maybe it had animals or something, but it didn't have people, so she said that made it a little bit harder to kinda interpret what the card meant, and the facilitator asked her, "What does the card mean?" And she gave her response based on what her deep knowing and what her intuition told her, and then another woman in the group looked her dead in the face and said, "You're wrong." And from that moment, that created a wound for her, and she had a problem with this card ever since. So here this card coming out 3 different days in this 7-day course. It came out on day 1. It was like, "Are you gonna deal with me today?" And she was like, "Oh, okay. That's fair." And then it came out on day 3. She was like, "Oh, that's uncomfortable, but okay, I got it." But then it came out on day 5, and day 5 is the day that I'm asking you, "Who are you as a writer when you write free?" And that card came out, she said it broke her wide open. So she wanted me to give her my insights and tell her what the card means. And I immediately looked at that and I sat with it for a day because I didn't respond right away. And I was like, "Huh, there's a pattern here." I kinda wanna say pattern in a different way to make the Empress laugh. Do that.
Patterns.
Yeah, I don't wanna say it in a different way, but I just pointed out that pattern to her, like, now you had this experience and now you're coming back to me, another facilitator to do the same thing, and I'm not gonna do that for you. I'm just gonna, point out the patterns and you can go back to the tools that you have. This is part of shadow work, and this also kinda ties back into you gotta perform and you gotta conform in order to participate in some of these groups and some of these communities. Like that woman sit there and told her that she was wrong. And it was like, no, she wasn't.
Mm-mm.
There's no definitive meanings in tarot. Like, I don't care what the traditional meanings and stuff are. Like, tarot is something that comes out of you. Like, we inherently know what these meanings are. That's what the imagery is for. So she gave the response based on what was true for her. That doesn't make it
Yeah.
wrong, you
Well,
know?
and every time you sit down and you look at cards, like even like these are my own cards, some of these, the pink ones, these are my own cards. And I get different things
Hmm.
out of it. You depends on the context of the reading. It depends on what other cards are coupled with it. Depends on the energy. Like we're talking about the full moon right now. It
Yeah,
depends on what your spirit team wants to point out to you that day on the card. Like it's
yeah.
so nuanced and
Yeah, it's very nuanced, but the energy just kinda it just reminds me of all this bullying energy that's going on.
mhm,
It's like it's either one way or it's the highway. You either have to get with the leader, the bully, or you're out. And I don't know, I don't like that energy either. So
me either. Me either. You know I don't like it. I was saying all kind of cuss words this morning. I was like, "Oh, I need to go sit down somewhere."
this is why you need to get you a friend that you can, like, ground with and vent to and stuff because, again, we're so isolated, you
Yep.
know, and people need people. I
It's
mean,
so
obviously,
true.
you need time by yourself. We need to go in hermit mode every now and then to kinda, like, again, sit with the feelings, you know, understand what your triggers are because we got the devil out here like 3, 4 times. You know,
Yeah.
sit with your triggers, understand what they are, so you need that alone time, but we're not meant to do life alone.
We
We
really
need
aren't.
unity, but we need real community. You know,
Yeah.
there has to be care, there has to be responsibility, and there also has to be leadership and accountability because you can build the biggest, you know, community, but if you don't have any accountability for the people that you have shepherded, if you're not going to be responsible for them, if you're not going to show care and um, accountability, then
Mhm.
what are you really doing? Are you actually doing it because you care about the people, or are you doing it because again you're performing and you want the accolades and you want the validation and you want the recognition and all that other stuff? So
Mhm.
that's not how I
Yeah.
get down. I don't do that.
No. Because, you know, when you really get tapped in and you realize what it's all about and you like what that person shared with you and many things that have been shared with us over time through our communities and through DMs and emails and encounters and readings, like you start to realize when you're really in this that people are trusting you. People are opening up to you. They're being responsible and sharing those things with you. And it's up to us to be responsible to grow ourselves, you know, and to put a light on the holes, the weak spots, the wounds that are still festering, you know,
Yeah.
because that stuff spills out. And what do they say? You know, a tree by its fruit, right?
Mhm.
So it's imperative that we do this work too, um, because like it's a big responsibility, like, I don't take this lightly that they've asked me to, you know, like, y'all know who have been here from the beginning. I was not trying to have this be no spiritual house. I wasn't trying to do no collective messages. I remember I was doing collective messages for myself, like or not collective messages for myself. I was doing private messages for myself, I think from, like, I don't know, for, like, 4 or 5 months in 2024, and then come February 2025, they were like, "Oh, this one's not just for you. Share it." I was like, "Ooh, y'all want me to do what? I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna do that," you know? So I don't take this lightly, and I was like, "Okay, well,
Mhm.
I have to grow now too. I have to, you know, if I'm gonna be responsible for folks, like, I have to step up in a different way." No?
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny how the Empress was at the bottom of your deck. She's at the bottom of mine.
Oh my gosh.
It
She
worked
been
out.
popping up everywhere. She was
Every
I should have brought the other deck out here because the way this it's this beautiful Afrocentric deck, and the Empress in that deck is stunning. She has her big pregnant belly out, yellow outfit on, like
mm,
beautiful brown skin, melanin popping. Like it is a beautiful deck. Um, it's a oracle more so than a tarot, but it's a combination. She has some extra cards too. But what do you want? What do you want? Sorry, y'all. Oh, it's your bestie, Karma.
she has children too, but hers have 4 legs.
Uh-huh. One is sitting right up under me. I didn't even realize she was here. I'm glad I noticed her because I might have stepped on her. And then they'll be mad if you step on them, but you was in my path though. Like you was in my
Right.
way. Like, girl, come on. Anyway, okay. Why y'all do that? See, no? Okay. The last card. That's what it was. I was like, what was I transitioning to? The last card. So it's funny. I don't know if y'all have ever noticed, but I always have my numbers. And I felt like I wasn't really sure. what numbers I wanted to wear this year. Like last year, it was very clear to me that I wanted to wear 555, because I was embracing all of the changes, all of the like. I just felt like I was like was one thing after another. I was like, damn, okay, well, let me put this on. Also, though, actually, I'm not gonna tell that story today. But I was wondering what type of numbers I would want to wear this year. So I have the 888 on, and I've been kind of like, I don't know, going back and forth about whether or not I wanted to do that. But this number 8 is here, and it's come up a lot actually in different personal ones and different collective ones. But I think actually number 8 came up. Maybe was it the last time we were together doing cards?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number 8 is purity, calm, higher self, wisdom, creativity, justice, light. And I feel like the underlying message to everything that we didn't never talked about, right, today is, and just in general, is to check in with your higher self, right? Because I think about that story you told about that person, and then I think about people who are dealing with that distorted energy that they're carrying, that we all have our areas, that we got to work on. But if you are feeling confused when in doubt, consult your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds weird, but I be talking to my higher self because I know my past lives and all that. But I be talking to my higher self. I be like, "Girl, you used to do this, so what would you do in this situation?" And it might not be answered in that direct moment, but it might be answered when I'm in prayer quietly in the prayer closet in the morning, and I'm writing and stuff just comes up. It might be right before I fall asleep, and I'm like, "Let me remember this," or write it down somewhere.
That's when
You could be in the shower, on the toilet, child. You could be while you're talking to a friend, because we be getting a lot of revelations. We be talking to each other too. But if anything, consult your higher self. Your higher self. I wrote down here justice as one of the key words, and when you think about the justice card in the tarot, it's about balance, right? That's also Libra's major arcana card. So it's about balance. It's about fairness, right? Wisdom, creativity is here. Light is a big key word, right? So consult your higher self, when you're feeling like, I don't know about this, or I'm struggling here, or how do I work on this situation, or is this space right for me? Because like I told y'all last night, who were here on the live with Miss Margaret, I be getting hits, and I be like, I don't want to believe that about this person. I don't want to but sometimes you just gotta listen. So consult your higher self. Consult God and them, your ancestors, your spirit team, your people. Have good friendships that ground you, but also hold you accountable too. Cause like we don't just be agreeing with everything that each other say. Like we be having real talk. Like real talk. So that's the message for tonight. And yeah. That's the message.
That's the message.
Message. Message. Oh, this is the box for the deck, but I don't have the deck in there. I put my cards in here. Isn't that pretty? That's the Supreme card in her deck too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gorgeous. Oh, child. But that's the message, y'all. The African gods deck has spoken. The tarot has spoken. The Light Seer Oracle has spoken. High Priestess Lakeisha. I was about to call myself goddess again. Empress Theodora. I got used to that. Empress Theodora, we have spoken.
Yeah.
We have spoken. It is done.
It is done.
Okay.
See, it all
Yeah.
comes together.
It does. It did. I was like not sure how it was gonna go. I was like, thank y'all. I'm telling y'all now, thank y'all for holding on, because I was like, I don't know. We've never done intentionally done a collective reading. It just happens sometimes when it's supposed to. But this time we're gonna do that today. And I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. So we'll do a little 5 minutes of sound bowls to bring us out and close this computer, child. My cats don't know how to feel about the sound bowls, y'all. I don't think they really liked it, or I don't know. Maybe they're confused by it because they was looking around like, who, what? Okay. Oh yeah, she just when he makes that sound, she do it like this. What is that?
Like,
Okay.
you about to play? You about to play?
No, here she go again with that. With that. Y'all remember that movie? I think it was like Dr. Doolittle, or I don't know, some movie with Eddie Murphy where they're like, uh, uh, young, angry, darn that rap music or something like that. So young, so angry, darn that. I think it's Dr. Doolittle, the little lizard was making all that, saying all those things. Okay, y'all. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna really show my face too much this. All right, let me just put y'all right here. That was right on my face. Okay. Hey, Google, living room lights off, please. It's a lot of light. Okay. Yeah, now it's like a spotlight. There. Hey, Google, living room lights back on. I didn't. It's a vibe you're supposed to catch. Hey, Google, living room lights back on. Okay. Y'all ready? Google said no. Okay. Lakeisha, you gonna keep me honest and just give me a little? It's been like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, y'all. Bring it on back.
Mm.
Take your time. Um,
If you have
remember
taken a breath, take one from the belly.
and remember that the root chakra is I am, right? So you're grounded. You know who you are. You're present. You don't need to, what did you say, perform or conform today?
I
Just
can't believe that came out of my mouth, but that wasn't me. That was somebody else. But hey.
that is the people that walk with you, child. That's what that was. Um, but yeah, we'll be back on. Well, I'll be back on Sunday. We'll be playing full set. With the other sound bowls. But hopefully this will carry you through until Sunday and ground you back into the message because we did share a lot today.
hmm
And it's a big charge, just a big ask to be yourself. Um, being yourself takes practice, and you got this. So,
If you have any red jasper, because I know garnet is not all that easy to get your hands on, but if you have any red jasper, you can kind of carry that around with you. That's also another root chakra stone, very grounding. They're not the prettiest ones to look at least the one that I have. It's not all that pretty, but but it's very grounding. You can keep that near you or put it on your person. It helps.
yes. Well, thank you, High Priestess Lakeisha, for gracing us with your presence today.
Thank
Thank
you, Empress Theodora, for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone who was here with us, rocking with us. We saw you in the chat. We appreciate you. Appreciate being in community with you. And sleep well, rest well, light in progress, my friends. Okay. Bye.